Hello friends, good evening everyone. This is Shivam Dubey from English Kingdom Katra, Prayagraj. I welcome you to the class where we are studying Indian English literature, and these days we are trying to study the poems of Kamala. Exactly, one of the most controversial literary figure in the history of English literature. Good evening, Dinda. She was a poetess who could present the free will of women in Indian community or in Indian society. She was very strong. She tried everything that was possible for her, like joining politics and heading many offices, organizing a political party, writing poem. There is a conversion of her own religion, believing in it. Lots of things are there that she could do. Good evening, Sushma. And sometimes the thing seems to be very challenging as well. The things were not so easy. Good evening, Astosh. But she never surrendered herself to such challenges. Just one moment that appears in her life. God bless you, Sachin. One moment that comes in her life was the moment when she comes in a relationship with Sadiq Ali. She was a bit doubtful, and the weaker character of her could be seen after her conversion into Islam. And as she has expressed, she was helpless to do anything good for herself, as she wanted to change her religion once again, come back to the religion that was exactly for her, Hinduism. But she couldn't do. Even after her death, there was lots of meditation and sometimes a dispute as well over her cremation. How should she be cremated? And ultimately she was buried. The works she wrote, most of them were the poems and collection of poems, but some novel and some short stories were also there. Today we will learn one of the very philosophical, meditative and daring poem of Kamala. I have sent you the text of the poem, the invitation. Exactly. Today we will study the poem, The Invitation. Kamala. Well, we already know that she was a controversial poetess, and her whole life was full of controversy, and she tried to solve them, and the poetry she wrote was first person's poetry. Most of the time it was confessional poetry, and very frank to speak of women's heart or women's feeling or women's need in the life, very frankly and very boldly. Before we go to this thoughtful philosophical poem, The Invitation, we have to go to our first session of the day, and that is question session. I will put you some questions related to biography of Kamala, works at a glance by her, her role as a poetess and her being related to writers workshop and even some points that are related to history of Indian English literature. So let's start with the first question. What was the name of the first Indian English novel? What was the name of the first published Indian English novel? That's the first question of the day. Come on, dears, reply. What was the name of the first Indian published English novel? No, Nidhi, it's not the Travels of the Muhammad. Exactly, there is a Sachin. He said this is Raj Mohan's wife, followed by Vinay, Mamta, and I think it was Archana. That's good one here. No, Dindiyal, it's not the Travels of the Muhammad. Exactly, Travels of the Deen Muhammad as a travelogue we accept, as a travelogue we study, but we never study it as the first English novel by any Indian. So the first English novel by an Indian that was published was the Raj Mohan's wife, and the work was written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. Now I'll move to the next question. Which award Kamala Das, could win for her story, The Cold? Which award could Kamala Das win for her story, The Cold? There was an award that she could win in 1969, and that was, the first answer comes from Nidhi. She answered to be Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award. That's very good of you, dear. And now it's Mamta, exactly, Archana and Sachin, Supriya. They have all answered to be Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award, for which Kamala Das was given the award. Here was Vinay, Mamta, Ashutosh. They have also answered to be Sahitya Akademi Award from Kerala. That's good one. Now it's Deen Dayal. He has also answered to be Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award. Very good. That's good one. Sushma Singh has also answered to be Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award. There should be Akademi, dear, not only award, okay? Kerala Sahitya Akademi Award. That's good of you. Who stated poetry doesn't sell in this country, India? Who stated poetry doesn't sell in this country, India? Well, so the first answer comes from Archana, followed by Mamta, Ashutosh, well, Supriya, Deen Dayal, Nidhi. Oh, I think Nidhi had made some mistake and she has just removed her answer. So it is Kamala Das herself, exactly. And Sachin has also answered with Vinay that it was Kamala Das and not Deen Dayal. I think Abhay, okay. It's Abhay and Nidhi. The two have also answered to be Kamala Das. Exactly. Kamala Das was a bit sad over the reaction of the Indian community on her poetry and the way people started hating her poetry was really a very saddening thing for her. And she found that in a country like India, in those days, it was really difficult to sell poetry. So that's why she said it's not sellable in this country. What's the name of the magazine in which V.M. Nair, the father of Kamala Das, was the managing editor? In which magazine was the father of Kamala Das, V.M. Nair, the managing editor? So the first answer comes from Archana, followed by Ashutosh, it's Nidhi and Mamta. They all have answered to be Matrubhumi, and now it's Vinay, Deen Dayal, Sachin, Abhay and Supriya. They all have answered to be Matrubhumi. Exactly, that's a good answer, because Matrubhumi was a Malayalam daily, and it was a leading daily in Malayalam, and he was the managing editor for it. So that's the right answer. Matrubhumi is the correct answer. Whose influence do we see on Kamala Das to pursue the career of a poetess? Whose influence do we see on Kamala Das as to pursue the career of a poetess? Well, so the first answer comes here from Abhay, and he says her mother and uncle. Exactly, but it's better to come with the name. And Supriya says the Balamani Amma, okay dear. And here's Mamta, she says is her uncle. And now it's Didi, she says her mother. And it's Archana, she says Nalapat Narayan Meman for. Exactly, there are definitely many influences, but it is Nalapat Narayan Meman, her uncle, who had greater influence on her as a poetess. Vinay has also answered to be Narayan. Sachin has also answered to be Narayan Nalapat Meman, and it's Vinay. Mother, definitely mother had some, but not thoroughly. Supriya has also answered mother and uncle. It's better to come with a name here. And Ashutosh says Nalapat Balamani Amma. Okay. And yes, Nidhi says Balamani Amma and Nalapat Narayan Meman. Both of them had influence on Kamala Das as a poetess. Exactly, they had. But when it comes to the reason who as a source to pursue the career of poetry, so must, if either of them you will have to select, so you must go for Nalapat Narayan Meman, okay, because she was a poetess, Balamani Amma was poetess, and she had not such a big influence on her. Exactly, Shushma has also answered that this is Nalapat Narayan Meman. Vinay has also cleared. So, okay, Mamta, that's good one. So be very careful. Exactly, mother and uncle both had influence on her to pursue the career of a poetess. But after all, if you have to select one of them, so you go for Nalapat Narayan Meman. Okay, he had a better influence on her. What was the pen name, one-time pen name that she assumed for herself? What was the pen name of Kamala Das? Come on here. And here is the answer from Archana. She has this answer to be Madhavi Kruti. Exactly, that's a good one. And here's Vinay, Abhay, Supriya, Ashutosh, And Archana. Archana had answered twice. I think there is a spelling problem. She should check. And it's now Sachin. He also answered to be Madhuri Kurti with a spelling problem there. You should use Y by the end of the words. And Mamta has also answered to be Madhuri Kurti. Exactly. Madhuri Kurti was a one-time pen name for her. She assumed, but later on she fearlessly wrote with her own name Kamala Das. And later on some words like Suraya was also included. Well, Sushma has also answered to be Madhuri Kurti. Exactly. Don't make a space between the words, dear. You don't need to make a space. Madhuri Kurti. Okay? Kutty. Y, not I. So now we'll move to the next question. Which journals stated the history of Kamala Das expressed in her autobiography, My Stories, as histrionics? Good evening, Mamta. What's the name of the Delhi journals which stated? That's good one, Sachin. The first answer comes from Sachin. He says the Hindu. Good evening, Suman, followed by Nidhi. It's Abhay. I think it's Vinay. Now Suman, Archana. No, Archana. It's not the current weekly. It's Vinay. Now it's Abhay and Supriya. They all have answered to be the Hindu. Exactly. The Hindu is a journal. The Hindu is a daily newspaper, which after reading the history of Kamala Das, especially as My Story, they found it's shocking and could consider it to be histrionics. Now Archana has also changed her answer and called it to be the Hindu. Exactly, the Hindu is there. What's the name of the work which we generally accept to be the first published collection of her works? What's the name of the work which we generally accept as the first published collection of Kamala Das' work? Come on, dears. Well, it's Summer in Calcutta, I think, Vinay, not Super in Calcutta. Obviously, it's the collected poems, and here is Nidhi, Summer in Calcutta, followed by Sachin and Deen Dayal, so Vinay, Abhay, and Mamta. They all answered to be Summer in Calcutta, exactly. And now it's Suman, she has also answered to be Summer in Calcutta. This collection appeared in 1965 and is considered to be the first collection of Kamala Das poetry. And we have also a collection with the title, I think I discussed it last day, The Sirens. That is also estimated to be the collection and was published in 1964, but most of the scholars agree that it is the Summer in Calcutta, which was published in 1965, the first collection of Kamala Das poems. Ashutosh, sometimes I couldn't see it. Maybe that the two answers are coming together, so sometimes it's a hidden. I couldn't see your answer exactly. Well, let's move to the next. When was Kamala Das born? When was Kamala Das born? Thank you, Archana. When was Kamala Das born? The first answer comes here from Nidhi and followed by Ashutosh. Both have answered with 31st March 1934, and here is Vinay. Sachin, no, Sachin, it's not May. Okay, he has changed to be March. 31st March 1934. It's the correct answer. Well, it's Deen Dayal, and now it's Suman, and here is Archana. Well, that's good one here. And now it's Supriya. it's Abhay. They all have answered to be 31st March 1934. Please do make a space. See, Supriya, your answer. There's no space between 31st March and 1934. So difficult to see from this far distance exactly the words that are written there. So please do make a space. Okay. Well, that's good one, Suman. She has also answered to be 31st March 1934 exactly. Where did Kamala Das breathe her last? Where did Kamala Das breathe her last? That's the next question. You will have to tell. Well, so the first answer appears here is from Nidhi. She says it's Pune, exactly, in a hospital of Pune. And Archana has also answered Pune, but better answer comes here from Ashutosh. She says Pune in a hospital. Well, Mamta, Abhay, Supriya, they have also answered to be Pune, but as I told you, in an hospital of Pune or Pune, there is a hospital. Well, that's Deen Dayal. He has also answered to be hospital in Pune, and now, well, the same mistake has been committed by Vinay. I cannot read it from this far distance, Vinay, if you don't give a space between words. Okay, so exactly the correct answer is that she could breathe her last in a hospital of Pune, and here is Mamta and nurse Sushma and Suman. They all have answered to be Pune hospital. Nurse Anu, she has also answered to be Pune. Welcome back, Anu. Nice to see you. Well, let's move to the next question. What was the name of the magazine for which she was working as an editor? What was the name of the magazine she was working as an editor? Okay, there's no need of the Juma Masjid here, Sushma. I'll just answer this question. Well, so Sachin has answered it first to be Poet. Exactly, the Poet magazine is a complete name, and that comes from Mamta as well. No, Nidhi. She was not the editor, exactly editor in Illustrated Weekly of India. She was poetry editor in Illustrated Weekly of India. And Deen Dayal and Vinay and Supriya, they have all answered to be Illustrated Weekly of India. No, it's not correct answer here. Poet magazine, that was the magazine where she worked as the editor, and later on, in fact, in Illustrated Weekly of India, she was poetry editor. While Ashutosh has also answered to be Illustrated Weekly of India, no, dear Sushma has also answered wrong to be Illustrated, and I think it's a Suman that she answered to be Poet magazine. Now check the spelling of magazine, Suman. And okay, so see the difference. As an editor, as a poetry editor, the two things. If I ask about poetry editor, it is Illustrated Weekly of India. Okay. If I say just editor, so it's going to be Poets magazine. Okay. So now, no, Mamta, it's not Illustrated Weekly of India here. Just see the difference. Editor and poetry editor, the two words that make the difference. Okay. Well, what was the name of the founding member of the writers' workshop? What was the name of the founding head, not all, okay, head founding member of the publishing house writers' workshop? Kamala Das was associated to writers' workshop. And you will have to tell the name of the leading person, and here is the answer that first comes from Nidhi, followed by Sachin. Oh no, Archana, it's not Kamala Das, and not Vinay. Well, now it's Mamta, Deen Dayal. They all have answered to be Purushottam Lal. Exactly. Purushottam was one of the 8 leading and especially the head of the founding Supriya, Archana, Vinay, and Suman. Well, Archana has answered again. It's the Purushottam Lal who was one of the head and the leading person of the founding committee. Exactly, there was Anita Desai as well, but the head of the establishing or founding committee was Purushottam Lal. So my question was about there. Who coined the term, the confessional poetry? Who coined the term, confessional poetry? This is the last question of the day. Who coined the term confessional poetry? Because Kamala Das is associated or related to Karam. Well, so the first answer is here from Ashutosh. He says Marshall Louis Rosenthal. Exactly, that's the correct answer. Now Vinay has also answered to be the same, but Deen Dayal has given the short answer, and here is a short answer from Nidhi as well. And Supriya has also answered to be Marshall Louis Rosenthal. Exactly there. Sachin has answered short to be M.L. Rosenthal, and I think there was some answers Archana gave, but she had removed her answer, and we can find some more answers on the screen. And waiting, well, it's Suman, she says Marsha Louis, and Mamta says M. Louis Rosenthal, and now short answer comes from Archana, she says Rosenthal. Exactly, it's a Marshall Louis Rosenthal, who was the man studying the work of Robert Lowell. He could coin this term as the confessional poetry. And here is answer from Anu. She says it's M.L. and there is an extra live, I think something like Rosenthal. Exactly, that's the correct answer. So it's Marshall Louis Rosenthal, who was an American essayist critic, and he could coin this term for the American poetry. And even in India, we find Kamala Das to be from the same branch of the poets and poetess. Well, so now we have to move to the poem, and the poem is The Invitation. The poem has lots of the meaning, deep meaning, the word like invitation. Before we proceed to the poem, its a theme, we have to see something about its a background when it was published. So see, the poem was published in collected poems. Collected poems. This collection appeared in 1984. You remember, for this collection, Kamala Das could receive the Sahitya Akademi Award, and the publication was done by Sterling, published by Sterling in New Delhi. In New Delhi. So publishing house was Sterling and published the collected poems, and one of the collected poems was The Invitation that appeared in 1984. About the poetry of Kamala Das and the self-realization, that is very important for any poet or poetess. And this we see in the poetry of Kamala Das as a main point to be self-realization. Self-realization means, who am I? Who am I? This is a question, and the answer that we receive is going to be the expression self-realization. When it comes to be about Kamala Das, any piece that she writes, It's not only that she had to write about only knowledge, only knowledge. Instead, her work seems to be the knowledge with experience. Whatever she says, whatever she writes, that has the tinge, that has the mixture of her knowledge and experience. So the experience and knowledge that she received could give her self-realization, what she is, who she is, what she can do, what she cannot do. When we come to this poem, The Invitation, it seems that it is kind of conversational poem. Conversational poem. And in this conversational poem, we have two persons making conversation. One, the narrator, the poetess, and next is the sea. Sea is here personified. One more thing that we have seen in this poem is that everything has its limit. Everything has its limit. Means if we are trying to resist something, how long can we resist? Not always. At one point, we will stop resisting. This happens in many things. It happens. This state is shown. The resisting power comes to an end, and Kamala Das wants to tell that no one can resist throughout his or her life. So it's a matter of resist or resistance. How long to resist? Some of the portion of the poem is presented with the help of the flashback technique. Flashback technique. Here, whatever beautiful moment the poetess had, she could spend with her lover. Lover has gone away from her. So only sweet memories of her love, making relationship, walking together, and lots of things that they could experience. Only those memories are left. Now and then, those memories come back in our life. Naturally, these memories of happy moment torture us when our partner is not with us. Start torturing us. Here the sea wants to give solution to such tortures. And what is that solution? To commit suicide. Commit suicide. Because she thinks, I will explain. Because she thinks if the narrator, the poetess, will live with her memories, since her lover is not going to come back to her, she will live a lonely life. One day she will have to die. When she will die, according to Hindu tradition or rituals, she will be cremated, burnt on fire. And if she comes to sea, and commits suicide. The world of sea is very cool world. Her body will be soothed She will feel relaxed, not the pain of burning or anything. At first, the poetess resisted, but by the end, she uses the word darling for someone, means addressing to someone, maybe to her readers, maybe to her lover, maybe to the sea. Because sea is constantly asking her to commit suicide. Come in the lap of the sea, find the end of all tortures in her life. She is resisting, but the question is how long? And ultimately, she decides, as by the end we see, how long one can resist. It means after this, she was off the will to commit suicide. So beautiful. Sometimes you will have to face complexity of the narrative, complexities of the narration as well. You can face some challenges to understand whose statement is that. Means the statement of the poetess, statement of the narrator, or the statement of the sea. Okay? Should we start the text? This is the whole, means very simple language she has used. Not a very typical poet or poetess she is. She is a poetess of heart. She is poetess of mind. She is poetess of will. She is a poetess of self-realization. She is not strictly limited to the type of stanzas, the type of meter, the type of rhyming scheme. Her language is the language of common man in a very dialogue style. I told you conversational poem in a very dialogue style, without clarifying who is going to speak. It will depend on us to understand. So be very careful while reading the text. Okay, let's go to the text of the poem. As I told you that there will be conversation between the sea and the poetess. One that will be inviting the sea. The sea is inviting to come to her world and commit suicide. By the end, when she goes to the word like how long one resists, it means that she is ready now, or she is willing now to accept the invitation, the title, invitation. It's not invitation like going to a marriage party or going to a birthday party. It's an invitation by sea to leave this world and go to the next world. Okay? So that's the meaning of the title. The invitation is. Let's go to this. I have a man's fist in my head today. Clenching, unclenching, I have got all the Sunday evening pain. Now it seems it's a pain of loneliness. When the poem starts, it starts with the expression of the poetess, expression of the narrator. The poem is written on Sunday evening. Most of us are busy in our life almost 6 days, Monday to Saturday. On Sunday we are free. If we have someone as a companion, we like to spend beautiful time together. But if we have lost our companion, our friend, our love, so most of the time the memories of the past come to us and they torture us on that very day. It may be that she had great headache, and it was because of the Sunday evening. Most of the time, it seems that the memories of the past starts hovering around evening. When it is going to be evening, the memories of the past, they come and they start hovering, they start moving around us and force us to feel them more and more. And in the state of that loneliness, we can naturally feel headache. So someone is there, like a man is there, is trying to massage our head. So sometimes it's a clenching, sometimes holding very tightly, very fast, sometimes leaving it, like pressing her hand, pressing her head, and trying to make her feel relaxed. It's a Sunday evening. She had some headache, and we see that there is a man whose feast are there in her hair. I can say not head exactly. It cannot be in her head, but it can be in her hair. The sea is garrulous today. It's a Sunday. It's the evening. And if it comes to the sea, it seems that the sea is very happy. It is expressing more than it expresses. Generally, the sea is very silent. The sea is calm tonight from Matthew Waters' Dover Beach. But here is calm? No, it's garrulous. The sea is garrulous today. It seems that the sea had a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, a lot of things that he wants to clear to her. He wants to say to her. And that is very much felt by his activities. Whenever we are very garrulous or trying to be very talkative, our body language expresses that there are a lot of things in our mind that we want to say. Isn't it? So that is a psychological thing which Kamala Das could read, which Kamala Das could understand from the body language, from the movement of the sea. Perhaps the sea wants to see something, to say something, to make her feel something. That's why the sea is garrulous. Come in, come in. Now the sea is inviting. Come in, come in. The movement of the waves of the sea seems to be full of excitement, seems to be full of energy, seems to be full of activities where a welcoming party is there. If you see in any marriage parties, you will find the two persons or the persons who are appointed to welcome the guests. How cheerful their gesture is. How garrulous they seem to be on that very evening. Generally, even a silent man, the man who wants to be reserved, very reticent, not to speak a lot, even that man speaks more than he really does. So this sea that generally is calm, is garrulous today and very happily like welcoming party, welcoming member is inviting, come in to the poetess, to the narrator. Perhaps the sea could understand why there is headache. It is evening pain, Sunday evening pain she is feeling. And now the sea has solution. I told you, the sea has solution. And the solution is that come in, come. He wants to invite her. Come in. What do you lose by dying? What do you lose by dying? Means he wants to make her know that there is no loss if she dies. She has nothing. Loss means if we have something, like something special, something very valuable in our life, someone very valuable in our life. So it seems to be a loss to lose our life. But when there is no one, so there is no at all. So if she dies or she is alive, there is not going to be any difference. There is not going to be any difference, there is not going to be any big loss. So now the sea is trying to convince her. She is trying to make her understand that there is no loss if she dies. If there is any loss, so she shouldn't commit suicide. But what he finds is that there is no loss if she dies. So come in. What do you lose by dying? Besides your losses are my gains. And one thing, what she will lose her body. Because only the body she possessed from her birth is still with her. No love, no relative, no friends, no lover, nothing she has. So if she is going to die with the sea, she will not lose anything. And whatever she will lose, it will be the gain of the sea. Because she will be able to store her body in the depth of its. She has only her body, nothing else. So if she will die, she will lose that body, and losing that body is going to be a gain for the sea. So she will be happy. She will be happy that she has accepted the invitation he was giving. Come in. And trying to make her understand that there is no loss if she is going to commit suicide. Oh, sea, let me shrink or grow. Oh, sea. Now she, poetess, the narrator, addresses the sea. She wants to make him understand whatever she has, like her happiness, like her sorrows, like her gain, like her loss, anything, whether her pain, her pleasure, she has. Let her live with those things. Let her live with those things. There is no need of the solution that he was providing. Oh, say, let me shrink or grow. If it is going to be a pain in her life, she will shrink. If it is going to be a happy moment in her life, she will grow. So if it is going to be pain, it's going to be pleasure, it's going to be growth, it's going to be shrink. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter for the sea. So whatever she is doing, the sea should lose. Not to try to convince her that she should commit suicide. Not to try to make her understand there is no loss if she dies. She has her own pain, she has her own loss, she has her own gain as well. She has her own happy moment as well. So there is nothing that the sea should do. The sea has nothing to do with her life. Why? He is trying to convince her to commit suicide. Come in. Slosh up, slide down, go your way. Slosh up, jump up, move up, raise your waves up, showing your happiness. Slide down, go back silently, slide down. That's kind of slipping, coming to the downward, and go silently to your path. Do whatever you like. Slosh up, slide down, go your own way. Because the sea is garrulous, the sea has come to make a conversation with her. And she is not willing to hear anything from the sea. Because the sea is convincing her to commit suicide, and she has no intention of committing suicide. No intention of committing suicide. That's why she says that the sea should continue with his waves, ups and downs, rise and fall, go back to his own way. And I will go mine. Means she clarifies that he hasn't anything to do in her life. She will go back to her own path without any hesitation. She has no hesitation. She doesn't need the help of the sea. So she has decided to go back to her own way, and the sea, without interrupting her life, without pinching her in her life, without trying to give any solution for the problems in her life, should go on his own way. He came to me between long conference, but he is not going to be back. There is a long conference, there is a long conversation, there is a long meeting, and the sea is not going to leave her. The sea is not going to leave her. It constantly comes to her, a fish coming up for air. It seems that there was a fish in the sea, and maybe the sea found that fish in a state of lacking air, so it would have jumped her. The sea jumped that fish into the air, and in the air the fish can take proper breath. But what happens? The fish that jumped into the air for fresh air was warm in my arms. The fish jumped and it come and fell into the arms of the poetess. And inarticulate, speechless, unable to express. What will express that fish? The sea has thrown a fish out of its water. Perhaps the fish wanted some fresh air, and it fell into the lap, into the arms of the poetess. Poetess tried to see or read if anything that fish want to tell her, but there was inability of the fish. She was unable to speak anything. It was inarticulate communication between them. You are diseased with remembering. The sea is not going to leave her. Now once again, the sea, after long conference, after long meeting, once again addresses to her, you are diseased with remembering. There is memories of the past in her life. The sea says that she had only memories in her life, and these memories have made her sick. She is not well. She is diseased, and her disease will cause her death naturally if she will continue to live that state of her life, that condition of her life. The memories are constantly coming back in her life. Naturally, she will have to lose her life. She will die. She is diseased with remembering. The man is gone for good. The man she loved, has left her, abandoned her, and gone away from her. The sea says, for good. The sea says, for good. It is good that the man has left her. And now she has not to wait for that man. The man who has left her will not come back to her. So, she should not think about that man, and not to trouble herself with the memories that are related to their relationship, how she lived, how they together spent time. they are of no use. They are of no use. Simply she should commit suicide, and that is the end of all problem. The man has left her, and that is good. It would indeed be silly to wait for his returning. It would indeed be silly. It would indeed be silly to wait for his returning. And he tries to confirm. The sea tries to confirm the poetess, the narrator, if she has any will that her lover will come back to her. It's not going to happen. It will not happen that her lover will come back to her. So she has lost her lover. She has lost her lover, and there is no hope of her lovers coming back in her life. So she should make the end of this torturing life, this sick life, this diseased life, the life that has no happiness for her, should be ended. Should be ended. She should commit suicide. See how forcefully, how witty remarks he is trying to make, how wisely he is trying to convince her to show her faith in the words of the sea. Is not going to leave her so easily. In fact, a kind of chasing, it's kind of haunting. Like the memories are haunting. Yes, that's good. That's also I will tell you, Nidhi, exactly. Because this haunting nature of the sea is a something that will make her believe actually that is the real end of the life. By the end of the poem we will see. But what we see here is trying to convince her it would be indeed silly. It's going to be foolish. There is no reason why she keeps waiting for him. It's not going to come back to her. It has ended between them. So why should she be waiting for him? Why should she? It's a better, she has a better solution. She should commit suicide, and there is the end of everything. Pain, pleasure, coming, going, waiting, and all such things. But what's her reply? End in me, cries the sea. Come, come, end in me. The world of mine, the world of the sea, is a larger world. And he is agreed to accept her. He is agreed to accept her. She should go to the world of the sea, and the sea will welcome her, making the end of all pains the body and mind of her is facing. Oh, sea, just leave. Sorry. Think of yourself. It's not going to leave exactly. Okay, I think I missed the line. So here, be free to wait for his returning. Come in, oh sea, just leave me alone. The sea is pursuing her. She is constantly speaking, constantly convincing, constantly telling her, making the world of his own better world, inviting her again and again. So why not to come to that world? But she is still strong in her love. She will try to resist this invitation again. So she says, oh, see, just leave me alone. Oh, say, just go away from. There's no need of the advices that he is trying to give her. No need. As I remember, I want to know her. As I remember, I want to know her. This is the pure love of lady. She says that in her memory there is only one man she loved. There is only one man she loved. And she will wait for that man till her end. She is not going to accept the proposal of anyone, whether it is sea or the man in the form of sea. Maybe, maybe this C is a man, another man who is inviting. Maybe, not very clear, but I can say, maybe this is another man. That's why she said, no, see the line. As I remember, I want no other. Why this line? I want no other. Means I don't want any other man in my life. She wants to tell that whatever moment she could spend with one man, her lover, she is not going to replace that lover by any other man. Not to be afraid of C, dear. I know you are very close there by C, but there is nothing to be afraid of the C. The C is going to be a personified object, and I can take this personified object as an expression of a man. And it is a man, masculine man, who is trying to invite a feminine, the feminine who was in love with another man, and possibly he is trying to convince that there is no need of waiting for that man. That man has gone away from the life of the beloved. He will not come back. So the next man is trying to make a chance for himself. This is what happens in world. So maybe the C is a man. That's why she says, as I remember, I want to know other. On the bed with him, the beautiful moment she could spend on bed, having sexual experiences. The boundaries of paradise had shrunk to mere 6 by 2. 6 by 2, that was bed, the size of the bed. And when the two were making exactly, it's kind of temptation. When the two of them were together, they used to make sexual relationship. The experience that they have during their sexual relationship, it seemed that the 2 by 6, the bed they had is not only bed, it is a bed of paradise. The heaven they can feel in the boundaries of that bed when the two were living together. Paradise had shrunk to mere 6 by 2, and afterwards, it is not only the sexual relation. Exactly when they had to make sexual relationship, it feels like they are in heaven. Okay. But even after that moment, see the two moments in our life. I can say two moments in our life. Definitely movement, but they are moment as well. One moment that we spend together in bed. As two bodies, men and women, we are bound or almost happy to make relationship in a bed. But that's happiness is not going to be limited only in a bed. The happiness the two can feel even when the two are walking together outside of the room, in open garden, along the sea, and anywhere. Their world seems to be endless. If the bed of 2 by 6 can be felt like paradise, the boundaries of paradise. Okay? So think about the world when they are out of their room, the two are walking together, hand in hand, looking into each other's eyes, the feeling you cannot even imagine. So the two moment, one, the moment that they spent in bed, the next, the moment that they spent together walking outside of the bed. So see here, afterwards when we walked out together, the two make relationship, and after that relationship, they have to walk out together. They go out and they walk together to enjoy the very bliss of the time, bliss of the fresh air and what not. They widened to hold the unknowing city. They widened means the path they are walking on, the glimpse that they are looking on, the fresh air that they are feeling, seems to be widening and widening and widening, and reaching to the range of an unknown city. It seems like a dream. It seems like a dream walking together. So the sea is unable to understand the feeling of her beloved that she had spent with her lover, together either in bed or out of the bed. Both seem to be the world of her own paradise walking together. The sea cannot understand. And in me, cries the sea, and in me, why are you doing so much? There's no need of remembering the past thing. Exactly, he wants to tell, the sea wants to tell her, the poetess, the narrator, that it may be she had a beautiful moment in her past, spending together in bed or even after bed. But there is no lover. Now she is alone. She is living lonely. She is tortured by her memories. There is no need. There is no use to be just remembering the past things and living in that world. Come in me and dies in me. And in me, cries the sea. Think of yourself. Why she is not going to die? Why she is not going to die? She is the angry lover. Why she is not going to die with him? If she will not die, what she will do? One day, she will have to lose her body. Metaphorically speaking, if the sea is another lover, another man, so he will try to convince exactly the next lady as a poetess, as a narrator, that what will happen to her body. One day she will die. Then of what use that body was? And she will be burnt and no gain out of that. Still, she will feel a kind of pain. She will feel a kind of pain. So why not to accept the invitation? Okay, see the picture of her death. Think of yourself. Think what will happen if she is not going to accept the proposal of the sea. If she is not going to die into the arms, into the world of the sea, what will happen to her? Lying on funeral pyre, she will die. That's very usual. In this world, if we are living, you will have to accept our death someday. She will die. And on a funeral pyre, because the poem was published in 1984 and she wasn't converted into Islam because she accepted Islam in 1999. The poem was written before. It means she was still Hindu, and in Hindu, the dead body of a person is generally set on a pyre and burnt. That's the process of cremation. And she will also face the same thing. So, lying on a funeral pyre with a burning head. Okay, Archana, imagine about the world of your death. He's trying to force her, he's trying to convince her powerfully to think about her future if she will die. How people will react to her body? They will set the body of her on the pyre, they will set fire, it will burn, the head of her will burn. Just think about this, the head will burn. In my world, wait, cool. Come to my world. In the world you want to live, in the world she wants to live, the world of fire is that. The world he wants to invite her, the world that she wants to invite her is the world of cool. There is cold everything. So, bathe cool, go to the world of the sea, and she will feel not burning, still she will feel the cold. Stretch your limbs on cold, the water will be cold. Stretch your limbs like floating on the water level. Stretch your limbs on the cold and secret scents. Gradually, her body will go into the deep of the sea, and then the sea will wash her body ashore. There will be sand around her body. Secret scents, pillow your head on one knees. And there will be many flowers, many plants, many flowers, many plants into the world of the sea. And floating body of her will put her head on those plants of the sea. One means the plants of the sea. And will be very happy. There won't be the pain of burning. Still she will feel the pleasure of cooling. She will feel cold. Her body will be cold. And she will have pleasure of not being set on fire. Instead on the soft bed of the plants of the tree, plants of the sea. She should accept the proposal. All through that summer, she is not going to be convinced. Now she comes back to her own past. All through that summer's afternoon, we lay on beds. Well, that was a beautiful time. The beautiful moment she could spend with her lover. And it was afternoon. She is going to be in flashback. I told you that flashback technique is used here. And she had a bliss of spending beautiful time with her lover. It was afternoons in the summer. Our limbs inert. They are not going to be in very active mood, because it seems whenever the two lovers are together, they will make sexual relationship. And during their sexual relationship and even after their sexual relationship, no idea come to their head. Instead, it seems that the idea that is exchanged by the bodies. It is the idea of the body, it is the language of the body. The bodies will speak, they will react. Man and women has nothing to do with that movement. Cells expanding. Cells during the intercourse, they can feel that the cell of the body are just expanding, spreading into throbbing suns. It seems that there are going to be just 30 suns. There are going to be just jumping suns. There are going to be just burning sun. The moment you can feel, or I cannot say, so feel, you can just know that whenever the lovers are making relationship, such things happen. They can feel thirst in their throat. They can feel their body burning. They can feel kind of spreading in their body and all such things to their limbs. But it's a very good moment for them. So she's just remembering the past events, that it had been a beautiful time in an afternoon of summer, that she was with her lover and the two were very happy spending time together. The heat had blotted our thoughts. The heat that was passed through their bodies during their intercourse, that moment there was nothing like thought in their brain. Means at that moment they had just one aim, that one thought, the one action, and the action was the union of the lovers. Physical union of the lovers, just one thing. Physical satisfaction of the lovers, just one thing they had, and that had been beautiful and the very harmonious moment for them. And that's what she said. The heat had blotted, stopped our thoughts. Please end this wish lap of memories. She is again in her past, and the sea is there. The sea wants to instruct her and this going back into her memory. That's a whiplash. Whiplash is kind of back and forth moment or back and forth thinking, sometimes back, sometimes forth. So she is thinking sometimes about present, sometimes about past, sometimes about present, sometimes about past. End this whiplash. Please end this whiplash of memories, cries the sea. She said there is no need of such thing of your past. The past is over and it is over. No need of just thinking about your past. All the time you go back to your past, you go back to your past. What is there in your past? These memories. The memories are your disease. They will kill you. They will kill you. See, for long I have waited for the right one to come. See, the sea is going to tell. It's a long time that even the sea is waiting for someone like a right person. The lover's next line, if you see, if a man is trying to convince, man means lover, is trying to convince the narrator, means beloved or any lady, and if the lady was already in love with some other man, and during their conversation, if she very frequently goes back to her past, he feels sometimes angry, and then start once again with a pleasing sound, pleasing word, like flattery. So now what he will say? You see that sometimes the lovers make a beautiful line. I can say, you're the right person. I feel that you are made for me when I saw you first. It's a type of feeling. That's what he is going to express. The sea is going to express. For long I have waited for the right one. It's a very tough time. Right? The lover, the sea has also spent very tough time. Waited for a long for a right person, long for a good person whom he thinks, the sea thinks to be suitable. Whom he thinks to be suitable. So remember that I always say that the sea is personified. So it's not just a speech of a sea, it is a speech of a man as well. Okay, so man is trying to convince a woman that I have waited for the right one for long to come, the bright one, the right one to live in the blue. In the blue, that's a word that you can see. He is waiting and waiting for a right person. The right person whom he thinks to be right, who can make his life even better, the life of the sea better. And what he says, to come the bright one, someone shining, someone very attractive, the right one, and not only attractive, but the right person in one's life, to live in the blue, so that the two together, the sea and the narrator, the man and the women, can live together in the world of blue. This blue means the world of sea, and if the sea is a man, into the world of another man, into the sexual relationship of another man. The man is waiting for a lady. The lady can be a suitable person for him, whom he can think to be the right person in his life, to be the bright person in his life, and can make relationship with her. No, I'm still young. No. Now she goes to that world. No. The ideas of committing suicide cannot be accepted. The idea of dying cannot be accepted. The idea of accepting another man cannot be accepted, because I am still young. Not very old. I'm still young. Still she is young. She feels herself fresh. She feels herself young. Why should she commit suicide? Why should she go to the next man? She is still young, not spend so much time. The lover can come back in her life. She can make her former life even better with the lover coming back. So there is no need of accepting that proposal. And I need that man of construction, deconstruction. Exactly. You are a man of just deconstruction. Means if she is going to be living in the world of the sea. The sea will just deconstruct her. In fact, in easy words, the sea will destroy her. But what she thinks, not only to be destroyed, but to be created. Construction and deconstruction both should be done. Means a man who can correct her, who can make her wrong, and after making her wrong, replace her, reorder her, and make her correct. That's not in the world of the sea is possible. So she wants to stay back in her world. Leave me. Go away. She is not going to accept the proposal. Go away. Please leave her alone. No need of going to accept his proposal. The sea shall bear some prying. The sea is not going to leave. He starts trying to know about some prying, means a kind of personal matter. He's trying to know about something personal from the lady. Certain violations, but I tell you, the sea shall take no more. There are certain violations in her past, there are certain violations in her life, but the sea shall take no more, the sea shall take no more. There is no chance for the sea that the sea can take anything more. Whatever he could know about her past, whatever he could know about her pain, it is okay. But now it is over with the sea. She is not going to tell anything to the sea. Not going to tell anything to the sea. So it's over with the sea. The tides beat against the walls. But the sea is not going to end it. He will make his effort continuously. The waves of the sea are coming to touch the walls, to touch the shore. Means the man who was trying to convince her is not going to leave her so easily. Even though when she says that the sea has no place for her, and she cannot live into the world of the sea, into the world of the next man. Because the capacity of man is not so much that she can stay there and he can take anything more. He should go, but the man is not going to live. This man will be continuously beating with its waves on the walls. They beat in childish rage. They beat in childish rage. See, when the proposal of a lover is not accepted, what he does, he starts behaving like a child, will do some actions childish. You can laugh, you can just ignore, but how long will you ignore? This sea is not going to leave her. This lover is not going to leave her. He will continuously chase her. How long she can hold back herself? It's not possible for her to hold back. One day she will have to accept. And now the sea is behaving like a child. So it's a childish rage, like a child is angry. It's a child's passion. So that passion the new lover has accepted, started doing, darling, forgive. How long can one resist? Darling is formal lover. Now see, this darling word is going to be addressed to her formal lover. This lover always expect that his beloved Kamala will continuously resist the proposal of the other man. But the question is there, darling, forgive. Former lover, excuse her, because she is going to accept the proposal of going to the world of the sea. Ultimately, the sea proves to be winner. With her idea, how long can one resist? There is a limit of resistance. There's a limit of rejecting the proposal or turning down the words that she faces. After such a long time spending with the second lover, spending with the sea, she is convinced, she believes in a word, and that's why she asked for forgiveness from her former lover, and now she seems to be going to the lap of the next lover. So seems to be the next lover is here a sea. So ultimately, the resistance part of her makes a surrender, and she surrenders to the continuous pleading of the next lover, new lover, the sea, and possibly she surrenders to go to the world of the sea and commit suicide. So that's how the metaphorical explanation of the whole poem can be done. Lots of meaning are there, and layer of the meanings are there that are hidden there. I have tried my best to give you the better explanation in a better word. I can say, Vinay, that it may be the Sadiq Ali has been symbolized here. Maybe because he was constantly making calls to her and was trying to convince her, was trying to make her believe that he will marry her and he will keep her happy, and all such promises that he was making. So maybe that the sea is symbolizing the next lover. The next lover means can be Sadiq Ali. We cannot be very sure, but can be Sadiq Ali. So that's the explanation of this poem. Hope you enjoyed it. Keep learning, keep watching, and keep working hard. We'll see you tomorrow with another poem of Kamala in the class. Thanks for today. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep enjoying. Thank you. Thank you very much.